How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TableTakes. It is our final episode of the year 2023. It's a time for reflection. It's a time to come together and look back on the fond memories we've made this year. And it's a time for board game news. But before we can get into any of that, I want to check in with all of our lovely co-hosts here. We have a very special guest with us today, the wonderful Anita. Welcome back once again. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here.
Well, I'm sure everybody's had a very notable Christmas season. I'm curious to see what you all have been up to. Anita, we'll start with you. How has it been with you and Noir?
It's been good. We just kind of relaxed and chilled. Ordered some Chinese food at Christmas. Just sort of had like a good time. We've got a temporary cat house guest that we're fostering at the moment, and uh, looking to try and acclimatize to this new environment
Okay, so
temporarily.
many questions. So many questions. First of all, how temporary? Second of all, what's their name? Third, cat tax. We need to see this cat.
I can't do cat tax.
Ah,
So
I was gonna attempt
this,
cat tax.
I mean, we could attempt it. I've got Watson closed up in this room if you want to try it.
the people are dying to see this cat.
Cat, 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 cat.
So, we found Noir's brother has been finding and fostering strays, and found this cat on Christmas, um, and uh, he is he's injured, so we're actually taking him to the vet tomorrow to get him checked out. His name is Massey, which is short for Christmas.
Look at the
Huh?
little guy. Look at
He's
the
very
little
sweet
messer.
and he's really affectionate.
Ah,
Um,
just let you pick him up. That's so
I
cute.
had to I had to give him a a real bad bath the other day because he was a dirty, stinky
Mm,
street boy.
mm.
Uh,
Oof.
but he's so sweet and he hasn't a
Aw.
single thought behind those eyes.
Yeah, the
He's
orange
orange,
ones,
so
right?
he only has the one brain cell that is shared among all orange cats.
Well, just so you know, our producer will happily take him off your hands if you are looking for a home.
Ready to
Well,
go? Ready to go to the West Coast, buddy?
All right, well, Noir, you can go ahead and pet the cat as much as you want. I'm gonna head on over to Bonsai for a quick check-in. Bonsai, how was your holiday season?
It was nice. It was little Nico, my little baby, my little human that I am keeping. Uh Nico's first Christmas. As predicted, I got him a bunch of really cool baby gifts, but he only wanted to play with the wrapping paper and only wanted to play with the boxes and wrapping paper. All the other toys, screw them.
Nope.
Things I want to choke on. That's what he was aiming on. And then also I did a really big thing, a very scary and big thing. I because of um Nico and not being able to put him in daycare at the moment, I had to take a step back from my own live streaming channel and have switched doing pre-recorded content for Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok instead. And I'm making the change over because one, it's easier for me to time management wise, even though it broke my heart to do that to the community. But two,
Mm.
it also is a way to just for future reference, I have a young one and he doesn't have any conscious decision on being on stream when it's live. So when I do pre-recorded content, that allows me to make sure that he won't be on screen when I do these things. So later on in life, when he's like, I never wanted to be on screen, um, he won't have that problem. So it's a combination of a lot of things that I've been thinking about. And it's something that if you are going to be a future content creator yourself, just to think about.
Please do remind us when it comes close to the time when the little baby bonsai is birthday is coming up, so that we can wish them a happy birthday. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right. And Noir, now that you are cat free for the moment, or at least temporarily, how was your Christmas with Anita?
Again, chill. Like Chinese food, watching Doctor Who. Love the new Doctor. Um, boy, I I treated myself to some photography stuff, so I'm gonna be getting into that heavy in the new year. So when I see you at when I see you all at Gen Con, I hope you're ready to get some shots.
Cool.
Um but yeah, that's kind of been the culmination of things that I've been doing this year. I taught myself Photoshop. I've learned to pilot a drone for photography, and now
Goodness.
getting into just your standard DSLR and photo. I was heavily inspired by KP. KP stayed over here this year, and I did a shoot with him, and he made me feel so comfortable. And it's just something seeing a master at work that he inspired me to try myself. So that's what I'm gonna do.
That's awesome. I hope we get to see some of your work sometime. When you come to Gen Con, maybe you can do our group photo.
Oh, I'm planning on it.
Yes,
Get
Oh yeah.
awesome.
costumes, get costumes, y'all. We're doing cosplay
Okay,
shoots.
I'll do my
Yeah.
best. I still have my
What
Star
about
Trek
you,
uniform.
Gian?
Yeah, what
I
about
had
you?
a wonderful Christmas time with my family. It has been 10 years since I've been back to Virginia, and I got to see my family twice this year. So I'm super excited. I tried teaching them board games. It didn't go perfect, but it was pretty fun. We played a game called Secret Santa, which is just werewolf, but my family is so superstitious, you guys. They're so scared of everything. I tried to teach them Skull, and they got terrified that they were gonna be like inviting demons into the house and stuff, and I had to like be like, no, no, listen, that's not what this game is at all. But they were really kind and nice to me, and we all did a huge gift exchange. I got a blurry bidet, a blurry bidet. I finally have a little tushy
Twilight
fresh
Nation!
hose for my toilet, so all my house guests will be comfortable. I also got a blurry spike ball kit. This is hard to see with the blur. But basically, even if it's upside down, it's even harder to see, I suppose. Basically, it's a game where you toss a ball onto a trampoline. Did you know there are over 1,000 ranked spike ball teams in the world?
No.
Yeah,
Did
trampoline
not
ball,
know that.
super huge competitive scene, I guess. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the summertime. Although we've had a pretty warm winter as of late, when
El
I get to
Nino.
actually try this out. El Nino.
It is El Nino.
Well, folks, I wish we could check in about our producer's Christmas, but I guess we'll have to wait with bated breath until he can tell us what happened. That's all the time we have for a check-in anyway. We have to move on. We have headlines. Everybody, the headlines, they're coming. Run! 2024 is upon us. Board game news has not stopped even for a second, and we've brought you tons of headlines. So let's jump right into it with our very first headline, all about Gen Con. Bonsai, would you tell us more?
Yeah, big news coming for folks coming to Gen Con next year. Also, big news in general for Indianapolis. Thank you to James Briggs and Mike Suri, one from Business Journal, the other one, oh sorry, James Briggs from Axos, and Mikey Sui from Indianapolis Business Journal. Basically, remember the mall that we all used to go ahead, very iconic mall walking through Indianapolis? Well, it's going to get a facelift, a 60 million or $600 million facelift, to be precise. It is, of course, if you guys ever been to Gen Con, it is a big feature of Gen Con, the Circle Center Mall adjacent to the convention center. Now they're going to be turning that instead of a mall, because the malls are trying, as the mall rats slowly leave the area, malls are trying to find new and newer ways to make themselves still relevant. For this one, they're going to be changing it into a mixed use establishment. The plan is to the new real estate firm has struck a deal to buy most of the mall and redevelop it for about $600 million. The plan is to demolish the interior area, a shopping area of the mall, then replace it with an outdoor promenade surrounded by mixed use and mid-rise developments. So if you guys don't know what that is, that's shopping centers on the bottom, housing on the top, to do this. And they also plan, basically just plan to make it really, really nice. There's pictures, as you can see on the side. side here of what the development is going to look like. And I think it'll be a nice area to walk around once they get all the lights and everything installed in. So just more areas that maybe we could have, like the outdoor what is it called, the where we can eat and have more booth space and all that kind of stuff, sprawling areas.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think Seattle has a bunch of those, doesn't Seattle? I live downtown, so I see it all the time. A bunch of, shopping center stuff with like developments for like residents above them, right?
I welcome the mixed use development areas just because it, like, if it's done properly, it's a lot of cities in Europe that has a lot of lively areas, and it's also helpful for people who don't have or not public, or have individual cars. It's very walkable. That's me being, of course, optimism myself. But there's not much to see except like, hey, we're gonna get a new look to the mall in Indianapolis.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that for sure. Well,
You know where else has a bunch of cool malls?
where are you gonna say
put
somewhere on the East Coast?
no.
More like in the middle, maybe the
a
west.
little westish.
Yeah.
Mm.
Rated the third best place to eat by one Keith.
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee.
That's a real person. I don't know who that is.
He's a TikToker that
Okay.
reviews food.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm just putting it out there. Just saying.
You're not talking about Chicago, are you?
You know what? You said it, not me. But
Okay.
now that you brought it up, I'm just saying if G-Con ever wanted to come to Chicago in addition to Indy or instead, I'm just putting it there. Keith Lee rated us the third best place to eat.
Well, on the list of things I never intended to bring up, I believe Steve Jackson Games is one of them. And that's the next headline we've got here. So Noir, why don't you take it away?
I would be more than happy to. Steve Jackson Games unveils 2024 lineup with new titles and collector's edition. Steve Jackson Games has announced its robust 2024 schedule packed with new releases and highly anticipated updates. The announcement made by CEO Meredith Placco at PAX Unplugged highlights a year full of new games and expansions, as well as special editions set to delight fans. A quick shout out to Tabletop GamingNews.com for the article. So let's just take a look at the key highlights of the 2024 lineup. You've got Gru, the game and tabloids. These new titles are poised to offer fresh and engaging experiences for players. You've got Car Wars, the introduction of new two-player sets. It's designed to attract newcomers while updating features for veteran players. So if you're a skilled Car Wars vet, they got new stuff for you. Of course, our favorite here collectively TableTakes, Munchkin, the flagship franchise, will see several expansions, including the humorous Munchkin Snakes and the innovative Munchkin Shadowrun. Just a quick shout out to our Realm Alternatives friends running Shadowrun. I don't think they're running Munchkin Shadowrun, but that's a missed opportunity. And Munchkin Big Box, perhaps the most exciting reveal is the collector's edition Munchkin Big Box, which is set to include 50 all new cards by John Kovalik, memorabilia, and a large box to house your entire Munchkin collection. The calendar works a little bit like this. January is going to bring us Gru the Game and Munchkin Snakes. February is that's when we're getting Tabloids and Munchkin Shadowrun Kickstarter. And March to December, a series release including Frag, Car Wars expansions, Munchkin, The Floor is Lava, and much, much more. In addition to these titles, Steve Jackson Games will also roll out several Kickstarter campaigns for various projects, such as the Fantasy Trip Hexagon number 12, and of course, Munchkin Big Box, ensuring that fans have plenty to look forward to throughout the years. And just as a special little note at the end of their presentation, the support for GURPS continues, my friend. That's right. The generic universal role-playing system, that's the name of the system, GURPS, is planning to release several new titles in PDF format, so keep your eye out for that. But there you go. We've got more Munchkin. We've got more GURPS. I know that my heart is aflutter. How do you all feel about this exciting news for 2024?
I still trying to overcome Munchkin Shadowrun. That's the one that's still, I'm like, how? Why? Okay. All right.
I
Cool.
will never be surprised by what collaboration Steve Jackson Games is willing to do with Munchkin.
He's a madman. A madman. Every time you say Munchkin, he gets $25. He's a madman.
It's much
the
the same as how many
Go ahead.
Magic sets get different, get collaborations, and like it's only a matter of
Yeah.
time before we see.
Is there Magic the Gathering Munchkin yet? Because we need
Oh God, how would that even
You
work?
spoke it into existence, and that means it now will exist.
Now it has to exist. But yeah, JVR, what were you gonna say earlier?
Well, now I'm afraid to, because I had a dumb idea, but Anita just said if I say it, now it's gonna actually be real.
Say it. Say it.
So
Say it.
the only solace I take in not the idea that we probably won't get this is that they already have an RPG system called GURPS, so they probably won't do a Munchkin RPG, right? Like they don't need to. Munchkin is literally just
Munchkin GURPS.
Oh no! You spoke
they don't need
it,
to.
and it
They,
shall be
they
created.
won't have to, is what I'm saying.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen now.
Steve
This is
Jackson
terrible.
is
This is
just
terrible.
watching in a dark den, petting a dire wolf, going, excellent idea.
Oh my God.
It has been spoken to existence. Now I must create it.
Well, there's still plenty to look forward to from the winter season. It's still, we are still in the holiday spirit. So, Bonsai, why don't you take us into our next winter headline?
All right, folks. So hey, guess what? There's going to be no linked source in chat. Why? Because you want to know what the source is? Me. I'm the source for this headline. I did it. I looked up things. So if you guys don't know, Steam is doing their winter sale going on right now, all the way to January 4th. And I went in and looked up some the games that I looked up that are on sale are board games that are also video games that are also board games. So you can't just choose games on Steam that are board game themed but don't have a physical board game to be there. So that's the distinction I'm making. That's the distinction I'm making for this. So on the list we have for what seems to be about 50% off or half off, Tabletop Simulator, Root, Spirit Island, Terraforming Mars, Wingspan, and Gloomhaven, of course, are all half off. I will contest that I have Tabletop Simulator and Wingspan, both really, really great. I use Tabletop Simulator a lot. Scythe is also 60% off on Steam, and all the stuff from oh god, I keep getting this name wrong. Handelabar. Yes.
Candelabra.
Candelabra. I'm very good at reading names. I'm very sorry for those folks. I have problems. Eon's End, Spirit Island, Sentinels of the Multiverse, and One Deck Dungeon are all between 50 to 80% off. And the ones that I would say that are off but aren't as good as discount would be Dune Imperium and Everdell. That is like Doom Imperium, 10% off. Everdell, 25% off. I have way too many Everdell copies and expansions for that, so maybe I should have invested in the Steam game. But I also really like the box because I got the fancy box set. What about you all, folks? Have you played any of these Steam PC versions of these board games yet?
I have not.
I own every single one of the ones you said.
Oh,
So does that mean I get a rebate? Do I get a bunch of money back from Steam now that they're doing a sale?
no, you should have just done it earlier. Should have done it or later. Should have just been like, I don't want it firsthand. I want it later on.
I mean, I know that we've done a lot of work through Tabletop Simulator, which is also on sale right now.
Yes.
And they've got some good like they've got some good plugins for there if you want to, I don't know, play some Magic the Gathering or things like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, and it looks like folks in chat saying Dune, Imperium Root are amazing on digital copies. So
This
uh,
is a little different. Like doing digital board games, video game style is such a departure from how we typically think about board games, because usually one person buys the game, everybody can play it. Now everybody has to buy their own copy of the board game, bring it to the same place and play it. Well, actually now not the case. You can play over the internet. So I guess you're eliminating the travel time. There are the pros and cons, I guess.
but no, I mean there are a lot of pros and cons. And also I think for a lot of these games, I was able to understand a lot of these game mechanics a little bit better by playing it the digital version, especially for Wingspan, before I like played it physically and such. So that's also a good thing. It's also a good intro for a lot of folks who are like, I don't know, and also for who don't want to play with human beings and just want to play with robots because robots are cool.
Yeah. If you are looking to play some games digitally, this is a great way to do that. Also, I highly recommend you check out Tabletopia or Board Game Arena, which are both having sales right now for their memberships if you want to play some board games over your internet browser. Well, there we go. Some great deals. Thank you again, Bonsai, for bringing that to us. Let's talk about some highlights of this year when it comes to some RPGs. And why don't we have Anita? Why don't you take it away for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually comes from us from Chase Carter at Dicebreaker, talking about a couple of TTRPG highlights for 2023. And year-end lists are not exhaustive, and a lot of times you'll miss things, but these have been some of the highlights, at least from Chase. But one of them is Turn of Fortune's Wheel, which is the adventure module for Planescape 5e, which sort of plays fast and loose with Dungeons and Dragons, with level 1 characters wandering through a strange and often deadly landscape. It turns into a little bit of a meat grinder at times. Also, next on the list is City of Winter, which is a tragic collaborative storytelling, and it sees players through vignettes of a dying settlement, where players will grow old and eventually die, and it explores what's left behind and what you can take with you when you leave home. Um, then Dragon's Bane, which is a reprint of 1982's Drakar och Demoner, which is Scandinavia's very first TTRPG. So it keeps its old school sensibilities, but they also updated and refreshed some of the rules for new audiences with it, which is very exciting. Next, we've got King Arthur Pendragon, 6th edition. It's a game that features knights striving for glory, tragic tales of betrayal and corruption, courtly politicking, and brutally swift combat, which I would really like to check out. Then also Vysen, the Lost Mountain Saga, which is an adaptation of an actual play podcast that Eleanor Di Lorenzo was the GM of, and it brings a mystery meets folklore from the GM's lived experiences. Um, we've also got Break the RPG, which is Zelda meets Studio Ghibli. So, like Neff said, super cute. Apocalypse Keys, which is I've played myself and is super fun. You play monsters who are work for a place called Division that are trying to stop this apocalypse from coming. But at the same time, the type of monster that you are can also become what is known as a harbinger, which is set to bring about end times. So there is like a scenario where, as a character, you can go too far and you can become a harbinger, and bring about the end of the world. And now the party has to stop you. Um, and then last but not least, they've got Fabula Ultima, which is a compelling love letter to TTRPGs and JRPGs. It's like you take the two of them and you smush them together and you made them have a baby. And I've heard that it's incredibly fun. And the art for all of these games are incredible, and I definitely recommend you check all of them out. What are some RPGs that you all have seen this year that you've played and you have really liked?
I did pick up the Savage Worlds edition that is not Shadowrunners called oh shoot, I can't remember what they're called. Not Shadowrunners, like a Shadowrunners version of Savage Worlds, and I can't remember what it's
Like
called
a
at the
cyberpunk
moment.
version?
Yeah, cyberpunk version of Savage Worlds, and I can't
Ooh.
remember what it's called right now, and I just played it last week and I can't remember. That was
Oh, that's
really,
so
really
cool.
fun.
I had a chance to look at the quick start rules for Wilder Feast, the Monster Hunter inspired uh, tabletop RPG that's all about sitting together at a large table and using giant, huge kitchen utensils as weapons to go take out these monsters that need to be taken out specifically because they're corrupted and not because they exist. So it's really cool, and I haven't had a chance to actually pick up like and play the quick start rules, but I did back for the full PDF, so I'm excited for when that comes out. I can finally play it with my players. It'd be awesome.
Nice.
I haven't had a chance to play the one that I'm going to mention, or the two that I'm going to mention. Um, I've looked at the book of one, and I did the beta test for the other. I'm excited about Power Rangers. I want to play it real bad, real bad. Um, I took a look at the rule books. The rules didn't click for me right away, but that's not unusual. Sometimes I have to play it a couple times for it to hit. And then the Marvel Multiverse role playing game. I played the beta of it. You've seen here. I hated it, but I love Marvel with my whole chest, and I know that they went back to the drawing board because that was a common refrain of the beta, and that's what beta's for. And I've heard good things about the finished product, so I want to give that a try.
Heck yeah.
Well, I guess we will have a lot more on our plate from 2023, and we are very thankful that we have all these new RPGs to play. Looking forward to seeing what you guys get a chance to play next year as well. Let's roll right into our next headline here. This is an announcement that comes to us from the makers of Quacks of Quedlinburg. And this is actually an article that we grabbed from Stoyan Todorov of the meeplesherald.com. It looks like for all the two-player gamers out there who are fans of Quacks of Quedlinburg are going to be very excited in 2024 when the dual version of Quacks of Quedlinburg is released. It will be titled in German Die Quacksalber von Quedlinburg das Duel, or the Quacks of Quedlinburg, the Duel. So it's taking from the first game, which if you haven't played it before, you are playing as these snake oil salesmen who are taking advantage of the poor Quedlinburgers and trying to give them fake potions that are going to cure their fake illnesses. And everybody's just giving you tons and tons of money so you can buy more ingredients. It's really fun. You're putting all these tokens in a bag and you pull them out, hoping that you don't blow up your big potion in front of everybody, which isn't the worst thing in the world because you still get money or points. It's just you don't get both. So you have to sort of decide between the two. Super popular game, one of the most played games on Tabletopia, which is a platform that offers digital copies of board games. And now we're getting a two-player version that is said to only have to play in 45 minutes. That means for the folks like me who try to teach Quacks of Quedlinburg and it ends up taking about an hour and a half total, they're cutting that all in half for just the two-player version, which will be really cool. This time around, you're competing over cards, round cards that give different bonuses depending on whether or not you won the bidding war and would help you throughout the game. You're trying to heal 6 patients in this game, which adds to sort of wrapping up the game faster in only 7 rounds instead of the usual 9. And uh, it looks like it's going to be not cross-compatible per se, but it's going to follow the same storyline. So there's it's like the same world. It's still Quedlinburg, which is really cool for the folks like me who got really into the deep lore of Quedlinburg. I'm just kidding. There's not a ton of that in there. It's just really fun to say Quedlinburg. So, yeah, it's going to be a really fun addition to the set, and who knows, maybe we'll see a little bit more support for the solo gameplay for Quacks of Quedlinburg as well. I don't know if you folks have played Quacks but I highly recommend you try it out. Get your hands on a copy or try it out on Tabletopia if you want. It's just one of those games that we can't actually play over, over Zoom or anything. So you guys are gonna have to come over and play my copy where I got all the upgraded bits from Board Game Geek that are made of acrylics and all the organizer that helps you like sift through everything and organize it. I even have the little wooden stand. So I have all the different books that tell you what all the tokens mean, like standing up. It's very fancy. It's a whole highfalutin board game organizer's dream.
So what we're saying is we all have to LARP and go to your house one day, and we'll all play Quicks of It's so hard. I can't pronounce it.
Yes, and then I'll make sure to get COVID so that you guys can pretend to try to cure it while we're playing, and I'll sit on like a big chair or something. You can be like, "Don't worry, Javier, this is gonna cure. It'll be fun." All right, moving on. Noir, why don't you take us into our next headline?
Yes, I am more than happy to, because it's always a good day when the bourgeoisie lose a little bit and the bourgeoisie have fallen to the proletariat. Yes, because the third board game in New York, the third board game cafe in New York has established a union. We have banded together, brothers, to strike back against the bourgeoisie that would take food from our mouths. A very quick thank you to Chase Carter from Dicebreaker. The staff at the New York-based Tabletop Cafe, Brooklyn strategists, have won their union election to become the third board game game and RPG store of its kind to unionize. Members of the Brooklyn Strategists Workers United won an overwhelming 17-1. And to that one, I just want you to know that we will find you. Vote on December 14th and join two sibling cafes already represented by their own unions. The Brooklyn Strategist began its union journey on November 1st after 25 members, more than 75% of the store's workforce, signed an open letter to the owner, John Freeman, asking him to voluntarily recognize their union. The workers cited several major concerns in the letter that have moved them to unionize, including a lack of job security, an ineffective grievance process within the company, and an unfair compensation for operating one of the more successful tabletop cafes within the city with a prohibitively high cost of living. Freeman denied the offer of voluntarily recognition, pushing the Brooklyn Strategist Workers United to file the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, for a union election. Now they've won the National Union under the Workers United New York/New Jersey Regional Joint Board will begin bargaining directly with Freeman at the negotiation table. That doesn't mean that the hardest part is over, as the tabletop union siblings at TCG, Player, and Card Kingdom can attest. Employers regularly stymie negotiations as a stalling tactic, even when it flirts with anti-labor violations under the U.S. law. This is, all jokes aside, this is seriously why we need to start really taking unionizing seriously as a tactic that we use moving forward to protect the people that make the hobbies that we love possible, because the bourgeoisie does not want to give their workers their just due. If they had their way, they'd fire you before Christmas. So I'm just saying, if you see workers fighting to get their rights, wherever it is, support them. Don't hop the line. Don't break the boycott. Support the people that make the things you love. So that's my reporting on this. What do you all have to say?
Here, here. Big shout out to
Yes.
Card Kingdom. I know you mentioned them briefly, but I used to work there, and they definitely needed to unionize, and we are seeing how useful these things can be. I'm really happy to see that New York is also getting a little love there too.
Yeah, and I also hope this just helps more for like basically promote and betterment of friendly local gaming stores, because I always that's where like I used to spend my time when I was a younger kid. That's where I met my other half. Friendly local gaming stores. That's where your lives can change. Like no joke.
The birds work for the bourgeoisie. All right, I had to get it.
Thank you, Noir, for bringing this for us. We're always happy to see new developments in the board gaming industry like this. Let's get into some more headlines with Anita.
Yeah, we've got a list of some zero prep RPGs. This comes from our friend Tasha Robinson over at Polygon. And if your wallet is feeling a little light after the holiday season, maybe make it a little lighter. Or if you still have a hankering to get some RPGs after that, these ones are really affordable and they look pretty fun. First off, we've got Rusalka, which is a melancholy card-based storytelling game, which has become a good one for pick up and play conventions. And everyone in the player plays a Rusalka, which is the ghosts of drowned women from Russian myth. And everybody player gets to take a deck that's based around a single word, and they cards will determine what a petitioner can ask for and how the Rusalka will respond. It's a very elegantly designed horror game, and it's very good for pick up and play. Next is To Serve Her Hungry Winter from the creator of 10 Candles. This is a vicious little story where winter spirits compete against each other to claim to hunt down a lost human who wandered into their woods, all serving to please their dark mistress. And the 4 players are Flame, Cold, Fear, and Hunger. They're all preset. All the prep is done at the table once the roles are chosen. And it's very fun from what it looks very fun, at least. Next is The King is Dead, which is a no prep GMless RPG that would allow you to create and play out a Game of Thrones style War for the Kingdom intrigue scenario. And it'll fit perfectly in like a 4-hour convention slot. And each player is given like an individual booklet that details their factions and their history and their agendas. And so there's plenty of room for you to spark allegiances and competition and conflict. And it walks you through building a whole scenario, which is really great. Next up is Tricksters Save the World, where you play trickster figures. Think Coyote, Anansi, Sly Peter, and from folklore. And what you do is you use those trickster gods to help right the world's wrongs that you've seen in history. It is cleverly structured. It's an easy to learn narrative game. And it weaponizes double troublemaker and troubleshooter energy by giving trickster figures a more specific purpose. You get to push back against the gray, which is a force of banality that is leeching magic out of the world. And it's an openly political and progressive game, and I really want to give it a shot. And it's good for a one-shot or a City of Mist style campaign if you want to run something a little broader. It's $3 right now, so give it a check out. Next is Troubleshooters for Hire, which is a little bit of a twist on your classic TTRPG in the sense that one player plays a character. They play a character by the name of Ruben Carlos Ruiz, who is a smuggler, mercenary, and troubleshooter hired to solve naughty problems, usually with vehicular skills and violence. And everybody else gets to play an aspect of the world around your main character. So you can have someone playing the environment. You can have someone that is playing a supernatural element, or even a rival troubleshooter, or or maybe even love interests. It comes with prefab scenarios, plenty of RPGs, so it's a good quick launch game. And in every scene, players will get to switch up the roles. So the person that's playing the environment isn't going to be playing that forever. Maybe they'll hop into the love interest shoes for a little bit, and maybe they'll be able to play like a snappy sidekick. It's whatever role appeals to you in the moment, you can just pick up and play that, which is really cool and really compelling. And it subverts the TTRPG structure in a lot of ways that is really interesting to me, at least. But yeah, give all of these a check out, and maybe find something new to play in the new year.
You had me at 0 prep. I may be a baller on a budget, so that was pretty exciting too. But more than that, I'm a very lazy GM. So I like any RPG system, any little one shot or anything like that, where I can just get started and read the rules with my players, and then we just start playing.
And some of these are even GM-less, so you don't even have to be the GM. Nope, you can just chill that way.
Well, we don't have to go that far. I mean, I still have to. I mean, I prefer to GM when I can because I'm in the control seat. I'm in the big seat and I get to control everything. But yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Oh.
Any of these speaking to you?
Definitely Trouble for Hire, just because I know my gaming group and we will just wreck house. We would wreck house. And though To Serve Her Winter Hunger also sounds good, but I don't know if my gaming group wants to do a very, very like kind of it sounds very grimy, sad winter. Grimy, sad winter game. Though it's the concept's cool, but also it's grimy, sad winter.
I kind of want to check out The King is Dead because it's got a feminine armor and it's drawing me immediately to it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Much like horror and misery, these things bring us together. Were you gonna say Nora?
Oh no, I was agreeing with the feminine armor. Looks very capable of giving me the mythic final uppie.
Uppies for the boys.
Uppies for the boys.
Speaking of for the boys, Noir, would you like to lead us into our next headline?
For the Emperor! Well, not quite, because that's 40K, but this is Warhammer, the old world. I scared the new cat. I'm sorry, baby. I'm loud. Game Workshop. Oh, all right. Sorry. Quick shout out to Milton Grit of ICV2. Games Workshop announced the launch range for Warhammer The Old World, which includes 2 core armies this week. Each of the 2 core boxes include a full 1,250 point army with dozens of plastic miniatures, the 352-page Warhammer The Old World rulebook, 1 4-page reference sheet, 20 D6 dice, 1 6-sided scatter die, 3 weapon templates, 2 classic red plastic measuring sticks, and a transfer sheet and a red balloon. That last one was a lie. Tombs of King's Kirmery editions contains 93 Tomb King miniatures, including the new Lich Priest of the Necrolith, Bone Dragon, plus 40 skeleton warriors, 32 skeleton archers, 16 skeleton horsemen, 3 skeleton chariots, and a partridge on a pear tree. Again, that last one was made up by me. Kingdom of Bretonia edition contains 76 miniatures, including the Lord of Royal Pegasus, which can be built as Duke or a Baron, 12 Bretonian Knights of the Realm, 36 Bretonian Men-at-Arms, 24 Peasant Bowmen, and 2 Defense Stakes, 3 Pegasus Knights, a Kingdom of Bretonia transfer sheet, 176 transfers. I don't have a joke. I ran out of material. The rule book, which contains over 60 pages of World of Legends background, plus core and advanced rules for the game, and explanation of the winds of magic and spellcasting rules, a gallery of armies, and rules for binding armies and setting up your battlefields will also be available separately. Again, Game Workshop reveals that they're looking at an early 2024 launch date for Warhammer: The Old World and the launch range of plastic kits for the Kingdom of Bretonnia in October. So if you want to get your Warhammer on, but you don't feel like dealing with all of the futuristic stuff like Space Marines, then you can have your Knights of Bretonnia. I, for one, though, I like my 40K, so that's where I'll be. But I'm very curious to see if any of you decide to step into the realm of Warhammer, the fantasy, and what do you think about all this? What armies are you considering to pick? Tell me, please. I'll shut up now,
Uh,
kid.
the more with winged horses, I could get. I like the Pegasuses. Or wait, yes, Pegasus. Yes, that's the right term. I was like, yes, more flying horses. I vote.
I'm,
I
I'm,
want to see.
go ahead.
Oh God, I was just gonna say. I just I'm as if there's an equivalent to the Sisters of Battle, I'm in for that one.
Mm. You know, this
Probably not
is I know some
because space.
people like complain about like articles, how they go through like the whole story time before they get to like the good stuff. But this is the one time where I want the article to tell me what like this does to like the lore of Warhammer. Like it's the old world, but what does that actually mean? How does this fit in with like the Emperor? It obviously doesn't predate him, but what's going on in it? I need to know more. So I guess we'll have to like wait until they actually come out. Maybe they'll tell us.
You're saying you want the lore hammer?
Yes.
All right, I'm out.
Is
I
it
can't.
just a theory,
Or
though? Lord have
what?
Okay,
Game
Theo.
theory.
Okay. I'm moving on. Next headline. All right, folks. Our final headline of this section of the episode comes to us from Milton Greep of ICV2. Floodgate Games has released a game called Kites, Time to Fly. Maybe you've heard of it. It's very frantic, very panic-inducing and stressful. It's all about trying to keep kites in the air, flipping over cards and sand timers. Well, they have just announced a game inspired by kites called Skyrockets, Festivals of Fire. This game is designed by Charlie McCarran with art by Silly Jelly. It's all about fireworks. You're playing cards and flipping matching sand timers just like in kites. Trying not to let any of the sand timers run out. But in this version, you are actually trying to advance along the festival countdown track by flipping over the timers in just such a way. You're still cooperating and working together to try to amaze crowds a la Hanabi. In this game, there are 30 event cards that you flip over and present unique challenges on each of them. The game comes with several different components as well as a score pad so you can keep score, a festival guide for your games, and even an encore envelope, which honestly is a mystery to me. So I'm excited to find out more about it. The game plays 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. It only takes about 10 minutes, which is about the same amount of time that Kites was taking, maybe a little bit less as well. The MSRP, however, is a little surprising to me. It's $39.95. Typically, with a game this size, you'd see a price range closer to about $20. So this is promising to have a little bit more bang for your buck, hopefully. Hopefully, people open it up and realize that there's a lot more components in it. 60 cards for the fireworks, 30 event cards, 6 sand timers, and a bunch of extra tokens, as well as that a couple of extra items like the festival guide and the score pad as well. So we'll have to see, and we won't have to wait too long either because the release date is set for January 23rd of 2024. So I'll be keeping an eye out for when this hits the shelves. I'm looking to see if it has the fast action with the same great rule book teaching the rules as Kite's Time to Fly had, with all of the fast action and easy cooperative gameplay that brings people together with all the vibrant colors on the fireworks cards. That'll be really fun to see as well. And that is going to do it for all of our headlines for the week. But we have that's right, one excellent crowdfunder that we would like to share with you as we head into Crowdfunder Court.
Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All rise. Court is now in session.
I am here to address the court today with a game by the name of Ave Nox. Ave Nox is actually not a game. In fact, it is a system neutral mega dungeon of forgotten history and folly. And it is a mega dungeon of forgotten history and disaster that is buried deep within the earth. Players will take on the role of sanctified archaeologists, opportunistic delvers, or despised grave robbers, all converging on a newly unearthed ruin. What starts as curiosity turns into a grand expedition as the ruin reveals itself to be a subterranean megastructure complete with ancient technology, strange treasures, and still living ancients of the Sun King. And cunning and curious adventurers may overcome dangers and unravel the mysteries of this place, and yet a greater peril awaits in the furthest depths. Deep in the dark, the Sun King plots his apocalyptic return, one that will bury the world in a tidal wave of fire and darkness. This is a fun, really fun art on this Kickstarter. It's made by Charles Ferguson Avery, who is an illustrator and artist that's based out of Pennsylvania. It includes a 250 mega room dungeon that is table ready and referee friendly. It has system neutral stats and writing for use with most TTRPGs. It is a campaign ready setting that is for use in long term play. And there are 19 distinct areas, each with their own hazards, features, and monsters, mechanics for dealing with the restless dead, gas leaks, alarms, and roving characters, a short history of the dungeon with its main personalities, and it is fully illustrated by Charles Ferguson Avery and Alex Cogan. It is fully funded, and they've hit a bunch of their stretch goals, but they've got like about 40 hours left. So maybe see if we can hit a couple more. It looks really cool, and I'm really excited to back it and try and add it to some of my games because this looks like a whole lot of fun, and it's got some really creepy and cool looking art in it too.
This looks amazing. I can't wait to see what the final product looks like when they release it. Hopefully, people get a chance to like review it and stuff like that because I want to know more. I love mega dungeons, and I love getting to see stuff like this being released on Kickstarter, so everybody else gets a chance to try it out. Looks like there's only 39 hours left to go, so yeah, definitely check it out with the link in chat before it's too late. Thank you, Anita, for bringing our crowdfunder court today. I believe all of us can say without a doubt that that is a case worth passing through on to permanence in our constitution. We're gonna inscribe it in law from now until the end of time. Thank you, Anita. Okay. Well, with the limited time we have left to wrap up the year of 2023, I thought we could all take a moment to reflect on stuff that happened this year, but also think about the future. And let's just say, like, what other stuff that we're looking forward to in 2024. There's a bunch of board games I'm looking forward to that were announced to be released soon. If you're a fan of video games, there's a bunch of video game board games coming out, like Dead Cells, Terraria, and Apex Legends, even. If you're a fan of dice games like me, the Marvel Dice Throne X-Men edition is going to be hitting retail shelves, as well as a game called Dicey Devices and Diceocracy. That should be fun. There's a bunch of stuff. There's actually a really cool list that a forum user on Board Game Geek actually used. So I'm actually tracking all of it. I think Sir you, I believe. Anita, correct me if I'm wrong.
Sergio.
Sergio. Yeah.
Sergio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely check out the link in chat if you want to take a look as well. But what do you guys think? Is there any stuff in 2024 you're looking forward to?
Ooh, I've got something.
Yeah.
So this year we've had a lot of hiccups with major companies doing things that we don't like, doing things that we don't support. And it's very easy to kind of just lay in on the whole, we don't like what you've done, we're gonna walk away. I want to. I instead of being upset at the people that have made follies, I want to just kind of shine a light on one particular company that I think positioned themselves in a wonderful place for this year and the next year to give us the means to walk away from some of the bigger publishers that have done things that we don't like. And that company is Demiplane. Demiplane. We've all most people in this space have loved D&D Beyond. It's made D&D more accessible, a lot easier to use. That functionality, that's the kind of functionality that other games could only dream of. Well, luckily, the guy that created that, Adam Bradford, I hope I'm saying the name right, Adam Bradford, he's the one that's created Demiplane. And it is the same sort of tool as D&D Beyond, but for Candela Obscura, Avatar Legends, Pathfinder, Vampire the Masquerade, Marvel Multiverse Roleplaying, Hunter the Reckoning, Alien, Mutant, and the thing that I'm most excited for is the 5e Nexus, which is just D&D Beyond for systems that are using 5e that aren't Dungeons and Dragons. So D&D Beyond is no longer an excuse to stick with Dungeons and Dragons. If you want that same functionality, you have it here. It's easy to use. It's the same price point. You can meet if you don't have a game, you can meet people to play. It's just a great tool overall, and they're continuously expanding. So this is just a list of games that they have available or they're planning to have, but it continues to grow. So
It's about time. I think somebody
yeah,
should have made this a long time ago. I think this is really cool.
I'm so glad that it exists, and the team behind it are just wonderful, wonderful people. Again, Adam Bradford, Josh Simons. I know he runs the community management for it, and I trust these guys. I believe in them. I've seen the work that they've done, and their mission is one that I believe in because it makes it easier for us to walk away from companies that aren't treating their employees or their customers with the respect that they're due. So
Thank you
that's
for that nice little shout out, Noir.
yeah.
Thank you. Bonsai, what about you? What are you looking forward to this year?
Oh, sorry. I forgot. So when Anita said what RPGs, I totally forgot. I have the One a Day RPG from Sundial Games Quest Calendar.
Ooh,
Ooh, so
a new
if
one.
you like things like fantasy and also the Redwall series of books, Mousies, or just want a fantasy version of Sonic the Hedgehog, morphotizing. Okay, human-like animals, the bipedal
Hell yeah.
animals, because I can't say the fancy word and
Mm,
morphotized. But yes,
Anthropomorphic.
thank you. But yes, this is a Quest Calendar. I'm very excited. I've been playing Quest Calendar since 2021, and it's just a board, like a quest every day. You flip the page and it's something new. Last year was sci-fi, the year before that Planeswalker, and the year before that was the regular D&D. So I'm excited to do that. Yes.
I admire your ability to continue doing something that I gave up on because I just am very inconsistent. Anita, what about you? What are you excited for?
I'm going to go through this pretty quick because we're running pretty short on time. But Paizo released their 2024 highlights, which include Starfinder Second Edition playtest. I'm excited to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
And the how the Pathfinder Remaster project is going to continue. Like, grabby hands, give that to me. I'm very excited. They've also got a whole bunch of new rule books, setting expansions, and hardcovers coming out for that. So another, if you want to get away from fifth edition, here's an alternative for you. And they're coming out with a whole bunch of great new content that's written by really good people. And I suggest you check it out. Another thing is this is a little bit more smaller and indie. I've got a friend that's coming out with a game called Sagas, which is setting and genre agnostic system, and it's coming to Kickstarter. And it's looking really good and really fun, and I suggest check that out too. And I'm excited to get my hands on it.
Please show it to us as soon as you do. I'm sure anybody on this team would be happy to see a little bit more from our indie creators as well. Awesome. Great episode, everybody. I think, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. But don't forget, we will be back next week as per the usual for more table takes. But stick around because at 5 p.m. Pacific, you can join us for some more hashtag joyful gaming around Sarah's table. Today, Sarah Moore and friends will be playing New Year's Fray. Our Gen Con TV streaming schedule, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, is pretty cool. On Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific, we have Indie by Night. On Wednesdays at 6 p.m., there's Actoroki. And on Thursdays at 4 p.m., we've got Roll with Rem Alternus. And of course, then you can join us back here on Friday every week at 2 p.m. Pacific to do it all over again. Thank you so much to Steve Connard and Tanel Lovett for making us look so good. Thank you to all of the viewers who hung out with us. Thank you to our wonderful producer, Marquis, who without whom we could not make this possible this year. Our hearts go out to you and all the hard work you've done for us. And of course, all of our fellow hosts, whether here or not, shout out to Peter. Thank you for being with us throughout it all this year. What a wonderful 2023. And we're very excited for what 2024 will bring us. Remember to follow us here on Gen Con TV for more of the best 4 days in gaming all year long. Bye-bye.